marriage ritual starts. And when the marriage ritual starts, they give very detailed account of what are the things that they perform. Like they in present day, they do something called Nandi. They do a lot of those events, right? Exact events were performed even back in the day as well. I was really surprised to see all these traditions are not something that are carved yesterday or day before. They have been coming from so many thousands and hundreds of thousands of years. So
even the volley.
huh?
Even the volley.
Asthal వినిపించట్లేదు.
Even the volley.
Deepavali is not related to marriage, right? That's a different thing. So next what happens is, the actual event of marriage happens, and before, when they come to the event of marriage, so in the meantime, Kaikeyi's brother comes. His name is Yudhajit. He also comes and takes part in the wedding. He comes because Kaikeyi's dad wants to meet with Bharata, and because Bharata is mostly brought up in Kaikeyi's kingdom, Kaikeyi's maternal kingdom, joins the wedding as well. Now on the day of wedding, in the altar, so all the four grooms are there, and the brides are also coming. So the first person to get married is Rama, right? So Janaka Maharaja comes and receives Rama, and he takes to the event of the mandap of marriage, and then he introduces him to Sita. That is the first time Sita and Rama come face to face and they see each other. Until that point, there is no reference to them meeting or them knowing each other. See, that is all cinematic. Nobody is there, and they also show it like, one second, they also show it like multiple people are trying to lift and they are not able to lift. Ravana also tried, but he was not able to lift, but not in that particular on that particular day. It's not like an event is happening and if you have to rush to it. It's not like that. That is not, Sita Swayamvara is not one event. Sita Swayamvara is it probably lasted for few years. People were coming, trying, failing, going back, so on and so forth. And this, because they cannot show all that in the movie, it is okay. It is okay to show it as one event. No, Rama and Sita, they both of them, they don't come face to face. Yes.
So, first of all, if random people just wanted to come to try to marry Sita, if they did not meet her first, how do they know what kind of a woman they're marrying and stuff? And
Because, yeah, that is a very valid question.
And second of all, how would Rama agree to marry this lady who he doesn't even know how she is, how that stuff?
Yes, that's a very good question. The entire world knows how Sita was born. Sita emerged from earth, and Sita's qualities were very highly applauded across the world. It's not like Sita is not known to the world at all. Everybody knows about Sita, and everybody wants to get married to a girl like Sita. Everybody wants a daughter-in-law like Sita. Everybody wants their next generation to be taking birth from a lady like Sita. So world knew about Sita Devi enough by then. And when it comes to Rama marrying Sita, Rama had a choice, right? Before he lifts the Sivadanusu, before he even attempts, what did Janaka Maharaja tell him? I have made this public to everyone that whoever is able to lift this bow gets to marry Sita. He could have restrained himself. He could have said that, oh, in that case, I'm not going to lift it. He could have said that, but he did not say, right? So he also, without saying it in words, without putting it in words, he expressed his willingness to get married to Sita, right?
Wait, how was he willing to get married with Sita? I don't understand.
That is your intuition. Sometimes just by hearing about a person, so you hear so many good things and qualities about some person and you start liking them even before you see them. That used to happen back in the day a lot, but now it's not the case anymore. But back in the day, it used to happen a lot to people, because they don't really need to see or look at a person. If they know about the qualities of a person are more important than how they look. If you have to marry and live with them, if somebody has to get married and live with them for their entire life, how they look is probably not one of the most important things. It may be important, it may have some significance, but that is not the most important thing, because that is not the thing that is going to keep this couple together. It is the qualities of the person, it is the compatibility between these two people that is going to keep them together.
But then how is that fair to them?
If
they ask, is Rama or Sita as I want to see the person, and then like they just, what if they want to see each other eye to eye even before that's happened?
but they did not want to. They were okay with it because they trusted their parents. They put the decision on their in their parents' hands. That is also one way of getting married. I'm not saying that is the only right way of getting married. According to Indian society, there are 8 kinds of agreeable marriages that can happen. There are 8 kinds in total. One of them is Gandharva Vivaha, which is like the two people, they just fall in love and they get married. That is also there. That kind of marriage is also there. Nobody else is involved in that marriage. None of the families, not the bride's family, not the groom's family, get involved in that. That is called Gandharva Vivaha. That is also there. And there is another kind of, there are so many other kinds of marriages where you give the bride and in return you get some money or you get some wealth. It's not like selling the bride. It is the respect that they are paying to the bride. It is a respect that the groom's family gives. Oh, you are giving me something which is most important to you, which is equal to precious diamond or gold, and in return at least let me give you something. That is the kind of approach grooms will have. So that is another kind of marriage, right? So there are multiple kinds of marriages. Yes.
You know how you said grooms and brides? Does that mean Mandavi and Shrutakirti are also getting married?
Yes, they are also getting married. So okay, I missed to mention that, right? The minute Kushadvaja comes, Vishwamitra puts that proposal in front of the entire family, both the families, that Mandavi and Shrutakirti are the daughters of Kushadvaja, and I wish we could get them married to Bharata and Shatrughna. And everybody is happy with that proposal. So the entire thing is happening based on Rama's ability to lift the Shivadhanusu. So brothers of Rama should also be equally valorous, equally capable. That is the thought thinking behind getting all the other children married to brothers of Rama. Yes.
Does Bharata get married to Mandavi?
Yes. I am coming there, right? You need to wait, okay? I'll tell you that also. So now they are in the altar of marriage, like they are in the dais. Now Janaka Maharaja goes on to explain to Rama the qualities of Sita Devi. Okay, so now when they are face to face, Janaka Maharaja comes and tells him that this exactly is your Sita, nobody else. She is the one who is your Sita. She is the person who you have been trying to get a glance at. You were looking at the verandas of Mithila. You were trying to peep into. It's kind of
Stalking.
He's talking. No, he's not stalking. He's just making fun, or he's kind of. No, he's kind of making fun of Rama. Rama is not actually going and peeping into the windows of other people. But that is how Janaka expresses or tries to explain the state of mind of Rama. Because Rama expressed his willingness to get married to Sita by lifting the bow. He had a choice. He could have just said that I don't want to lift the bow because I don't want to marry your daughter. But he did not do that. He came forward and he lifted the bow. It means that he is interested in getting married to Sita. It is not everything will be said in words, right? Some things will be said in actions, and you have to understand them as based on what their actions are. Now, Janaka Maharaja is telling this is your Sita. Don't look at Urmila, Mandavi or Shatrughna. Shrutakirti, they are your brother's wives. They are going to be your brother's wives. Then Rama asks Janaka Maharaja, why only this girl? Why only this girl is mine? Then Janaka says, because she is Sita. Then Rama goes on to ask, Sita, do you mean that furrow? Is that what I am getting? That's what he asks. Then he says, yes, it is. Sita has come from the Mother Earth. She is someone who emerged from Earth, because Earth has the quality of giving. Earth is so, what do you say? Earth is so generous that it takes all the pain and burden of your foot. You walk on the earth, right? You're literally stomping on her. She takes the pain of you walking on her, you stomping her, you jumping, you drilling, doing all these things. And earth knows only one thing: to give. What does earth give? All the metals come from earth. The crop comes from earth. So everything comes from earth. That is the reason Sita also came from earth. So the most important thing that we need to understand here is, only during the episode of their marriage, Rama is made to aware that he is an avatar of Vishnu. After the marriage, he never behaves like he is Vishnu, or nobody ever behaves or talks to him like they are talking to Vishnu. This is the only place where he is made to aware, and everybody treats him like Vishnu. So he goes on to explain the
made him aware in the sense, even Rama, like you have mentioned earlier, that he has been leading as a human life, but he was not aware of it, or he was
not aware of it. He was not aware that he is Vishnu.
But now in this context, was he also aware, or others were known about it?
Others know. Some people know about it, like Vishwamitra, Vasishtha. All those guys know about it. There is nothing that they do not know. Rama doesn't. Janaka Maharaja knows. Rama doesn't know. Janaka Maharaja is the one who makes him aware who he is. And he also carefully mentions that, let's forget this here in the event of your marriage. Because once you go out, you have some actions and deeds that you need to finish as a human being, not as Vishnu. Because Ravana got a boon saying that he will not be killed, he cannot be killed by devatas, he cannot be killed by demons, he cannot be killed by animals, he cannot be killed by birds, nobody can kill him. That kind of a boon he gets. So it means he doesn't get the boon against human beings. He doesn't say that humans cannot kill him. Do you know why? He's so arrogant and he thinks that humans are so weak that they can never kill him. That's what he thinks. That is the reason he is like, he thinks that I'm smart enough in not including human beings, because human beings can anyways not kill me. That is the reason in Rama Avatara, it is very important that Rama doesn't understand that he's a human being anywhere. I mean, he's a Vishnu anywhere. He behaves, he does everything like any other human does. He goes through the pain like any other human being goes through. Yes.
So when Rama figured out that he was Vishnu, did he suddenly realize that Sita's not Vishnu?
He only listens to Janaka. Janaka Maharaja tells him all that. And then he says, after that, once he gives the explanation of why Sita Devi came from earth, then Rama goes on to ask. In the entire conversation, Janaka Maharaja talks in such a way that he constantly tells Rama that Sita's birth is much superior to that of yours. The way Sita emerged is much superior to your own birth to Kausalya, because she did not come from a mother's womb and she just emerged from earth. She is Ratnagarbha. Ratnagarbha is someone who has, Ratna means, precious stones, right? Precious stones in her tummy. She came from that kind of a place. So she emerged from that kind of a place. So she is also equal to a Ratnam. That is how he explains. And then you had a question.
Not Dashratha, Kausalya, Kaikeyi, or those kind of people did not tell him?
No, he's not mad.
Oh, so he automatically knew that they just didn't want him to act arrogant like a child. Like, I'm Vishnu, I can do whatever I want, this, that.
Vishnu is not that kind of a person who becomes arrogant at everything. They are very well balanced people.
But then, again,
But Krishna knew, right? Krishna knew all along. He was never arrogant. In Krishna Avatara, Krishna knows, he has that consciousness that he is Vishnu himself. But he is never arrogant because of his incarnation, of him being an incarnation of Vishnu. Right?
Oh, so these people are just balanced,
They are so balanced. That is why they are gods.
Oh, that's why they're even like, it's a symbol of like human life. Like,
What?
okay, never mind.
No, you can ask again.
Then now I get it.
Yeah.
If Ram is an incarnation of Vishnu, can he just turn into Vishnu whenever he wants?
No. He cannot turn into Vishnu. Yes. Anybody else? So then he goes on to ask, why only earth? Why couldn't she have come from sky or from somewhere else? Then Janaka says that Vishnu loves earth. Vishnu, because he's time and again he's coming back to save earth from bad people, right? So it shows his love for earth. and as an act of as a lovely act to, because of his love for earth, Sita chose to come from earth, not from any other place, not fall from sky or anything.
Oh, so Lakshmi had the choice to choose if she came from Earth, sky, space, whatever?
Yeah,
Oh.
Lakshmi had that choice. So then he goes on to ask, I am from a Kshatriya family. You have learned about my lineage yesterday from Vasishta, and I deserve somebody who is from that kind of family too. Not an orphan, not someone who just emerged from somewhere who doesn't even know who their dad or mom is. I cannot marry that kind of a person, right? He says that. Ram says that. Yeah, he says that. Then Janaka says, okay, if you are thinking of Sita like that, then you may choose not to marry. She being Lakshmi herself, she will go back to her abode of Kshirosamudra. She came to earth just to help you achieve your greater goal in this avatar. If you choose not to get married, which you are free to do so, she will go back to Kshirosamudra, and after a few days, you will also have to go back to your abode with empty hand. You will go back without achieving your end goal. And every other house on the earth will have one or two Ravanas. That is what you will be achieving if you are really denying Janaki in this marriage to you. So, look at the importance that Janaka Maharaja is placing in his own daughter, Lakshmi Devi. Without your female counterpart, without your wife by your side, there is literally nothing that you can achieve. That is what Janaka Maharaja is trying to tell Rama. The entire episode, Janaka Maharaja never bows his head saying that, oh, he is my son-in-law, I need to respect him. He is, the entire time he is upholding Sita's character, Sita as a human being, how chaste she is, and what is the advantage of getting married to a person like Sita is what Janaka Maharaja is trying to tell Rama. He is at no point of time, he is either pleading Rama to get married or putting down Sita in any way than Rama.
So, okay, what I think what you're trying to say is like, are you trying to say that all Janaka's trying to say is that with Sita you can accomplish the reason
You came to
you came to
yes,
Earth?
yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. And yes,
What will Sita do to help Rama achieve?
you will know in the next episodes. This entire Ramayana is about that. So I cannot tell you in one statement. Adya, please. I cannot tell you in one statement. Okay. Then what happens? And through the entire conversation, Janaka Maharaja keeps referring to Sita as Masuta. Masuta means my daughter. He constantly keeps saying that Sita is my daughter. You cannot call her like somebody who emerged from earth, who's an orphan. All those things are not allowed. I cannot let you refer to her like that. She is my daughter, Masuta, is what he says. And then he also explicitly mentions that I am not here to tell you or say that I am. So if you guys know, Kanyadan is one of the most important events in the marriage. Kanyadan means giving away your daughter. Dan means donation, right? So nowhere this guy Janaka Maharaja says that I am doing a Kanyadan of my daughter. He constantly refers to this marriage as reunion. I am reuniting your wife with you. At that point of time, Rama asks, like, reuniting. Why are you not even saying Kanyadan? Then at that point of time, Janaka Maharaja refers to Sita Devi or tells him that she is already yours. She has always been yours, right? She has always been yours for the times unknown. And now here I am only the facilitator of your reunion. I am not really doing any dan here. So I am not calling it as Kanyadan. Then he says, if we have been together forever, then why this marriage at all? Then why should we even get married? We can just start living together. Then he goes on to explain that you are in a human form and it is very important for you to respect the human traditions. That is the reason you had to. I said that I'll give you your own Sita only if you lift that Shivadhanus. So you have to conform to all the standards and all the rituals that every human being goes through. That is the reason the entire process of getting married and all that.
Okay, so if Janaka actually made Vishnu just lift a bow just to get with Lakshmi again, so is he saying that he did that so that it's like he's living like a normal human being because he announced it to public and that they don't just randomly go off and everyone's like, why is this so unfair? This.
Yeah. No, a lot of people already were given a chance and they tried and they failed. So he also goes on to tell Rama one more most important and most interesting thing. So, guys, what was this? Yeah, Janaka Maharaja explains that Sita is so precious. The entire world understands. I don't know why you are not able to understand, but that's a different thing. So, there are so many people, there are so many kings from across the globe who came and tried to lift Shivadarasu and win Sita, but nobody has been able to do that. But again, when they were not able to do, they were not able to take the defeat. They used to come back and war against. They come back and they again waged war against Janaka Maharaja himself. So Janaka Maharaja was actively trying to defend and protect her daughter all these years, because people were trying to lift the Shivadarasu. They failed and they came back again. They waged wars with him. So Janaka Maharaja, what he does is he takes the help of gods, and every single time there was a war, gods used to come and fight on behalf of Janaka Maharaja. That used to happen. So that is how Sita is. And now here you are contemplating whether or not you want to get married to this kind of a person, this kind of a female. So then he goes and explains. And he also tells, do you think we are some kind of ordinary father and daughter? No. If we call at any point of time, Devatas themselves come to us, and they come in our defense. So that is our stature. That is the kind of people who we are. So you better be careful with your words. He doesn't say that in words, but that is the sense that you get when you look at the sentences that are being framed by Janaka. Janaka just cannot take when somebody speaks like that about Sita, right? And then he goes on to say, you had given your consent long back when you went and lifted the bow. That at that point itself you had given your consent. I don't know why you are talking about all these things. Then he says, no, that is not what happened. You have thought about it unilaterally, he says. And in some other places, not in Valmiki Ramayana, but what I have read in some other places is that it is against dharma if some archer or if somebody brave person like Rama, if he is presented with a task like lifting this bow or something like that, saying I won't do it is against dharma, is against their
Culture?
not culture, their ethic point of view. You're not supposed to deny that. You're not supposed to say no to challenges like that. So in some other book somewhere I have read that is the reason Rama says that I have accepted to your proposal of lifting the bow, but I was not really looking at it as a marriage proposal with Sita. And that is the reason I have all these questions. That is the explanation I have read somewhere else, but not in Valmiki Ramayana. Finally, after all these conversations, he accepts. He agrees to get married, and then
Has Sita been part of this conversation?
yes,
also?
Sita is there the entire time, and they have also spoken about how Sita got dressed, how she was looking at that point of time, the kind of jewelry that she was adorning, and one of the most important jewelry pieces that Sita wears all the time is Chudamani. Does anyone know what Chudamani is? The pin that goes into the bun. Yes.
Is it like that?
You need to be louder and you need to be quicker with your question.
The big rubber band?
That's what I said. Chudamani is the pin that goes into the bun. Then they talk about this very famous ornament called, like, you have 7 strings, right? Satlada you wear that. So she's also said to be wearing that particular that kind of a chain. And then they talk about those kind of earrings. One earring goes here, one goes here, and one goes here. So all those everything has a specific name. And she's wearing this thing, a papidi binda we call it. That thing she's wearing, and that is made out of that has lot of 9 different kinds of gemstones it has. And yeah, Navaratna. It is made out of Navaratnas. and she's wearing Keyura. Keyura is this thing that goes around the biceps. Not monkey. That's a band.
Okay.
It's not monkey. It's just a band, armlet kind of a thing. It is called Keyura and Keyura. And she's having this kind of bangles. How are her bangles? How is her hip belt? How is her braid? How is it braided? And what is the kind of thing that goes, the kind of jewelry that goes in her jada? All those things, all those descriptions are given, and when you read through it, it's so mesmerizing and so beautiful. Some of those ornaments we have today, some of them we don't have anymore. They are kind of extinct. So now he goes on to say that, so if we are already married, then why this marriage again? All those conversations happen, and finally Rama is convinced that he wants to get married to Sita. And before that, Janaka Maharaja says one most important thing about Sita. Sita is someone who will stay with you, who will be walking toe in toe with you, and she will not leave you. She will always be with you. But she will immediately leave if you deviate from the path of dharma. It's like she will not leave you, but at the same time she will leave you. What it exactly translates to is Rama doesn't have the liberty. Rama can never deviate the path of dharma, because if Lakshmi leaves, there is nothing, right? If Lakshmi should not leave you, it means that you should abide to the path of dharma. It is not just to Rama, guys. It is for everybody. It means that every single penny that you are going to earn in your life should be earned only by abiding to dharma. If you are deviating from the path of dharma, and if you are making money, if you are making riches, Lakshmi will not stay with you. Lakshmi will leave you. That is in one statement. Janaka Maharaja tries to tell the qualities of Sita as well as how you should acquire Lakshmi. Acquiring Lakshmi means how you should acquire wealth. That is what Janaka Maharaja is trying to explain here. That's one of the most important lessons for the entire humankind. All your riches, all your wealth will stay with you as long as you are in the path of dharma. The minute you deviate, everything will be gone. Right? Yes, you had a question.
Never mind.
Yeah.
So like, you know how you said if you deviate, then Lakshmi will leave you? If you go back on the path of dharma, will Lakshmi come back?
Yes. She will put some tests and she will come back. Rama agrees to get married to Sita. Janaka Maharaja's stance suddenly changes. He goes on to say that, oh, you know what, Sita has been brought up by a poor man like me. A poor man like me. And if she happens to say or do anything that is kind of little bit rude or anything, try not to punish her. Be nice to her, be sweet to her. So like any other father, right? He also goes on and tries to tell Rama that Sita is a little girl who I have brought up so and so, like this, like that, and she has been brought up in this kind of an environment. So she might sometimes mistake her mother-in-law's house to be her own house and behave like this. So please excuse her. Don't be mad at her. So he behaves like a very a normal father, like any other father. He behaves like that. It is very interesting to see those words and that kind of words coming from Janaka, who was standing up for her daughter all the while. The entire time he was only praising her daughter, and he was kind of subtly making remarks like, "You may be Vishnu, but you are not as good as my daughter. You can be Vishnu, you can be anybody in the universe, but you are after my daughter." That was the kind of attitude Janaka Maharaja had all the while. And the minute he agrees to marry his daughter, he's showing his other side to that.
So he's just saying that his daughter's like the best of all.
It's not like daughters, females. The entire story says that without Lakshmi by his side, without Sita by his side, Rama probably could not achieve, or Vishnu cannot probably achieve the goal of his avatar. Sita is that important. Lakshmi, wife, is that important. She is exactly the half of you.
Oh, so it's like even if Vishnu comes to human form, he still needs like Lakshmi no matter what, even if he doesn't know he's Vishnu or something.
Yes, he still needs Sita. So then now both the families are are very excited, and then they perform the marriage ritual of Rama and Sita by putting the water, like Pani Grahanam it is called. So they place the hand of the girl in the hand of the boy, and the girl's father puts water, indicating that these two are united. And then they proceed on to getting married, Lakshmana, and then Bharata, and then Shatrughna. That is the marriage of Rama and Lakshmana and Sita.
We do that ritual where Panigraham will be done.
Panigrahanam will be done. Yes. Even in Kanyadana it is there. So, in this case, there is no mention of washing the feet. There is no mention of washing the feet. This is Panigrahanam, and that is how all these four people got married to all the four daughters. That is, and after this marriage, all the gods from the heaven, right? They witnessed this marriage. They were so happy, and they showered the flowers onto the four couples.
So it just came on the sky? Came out of sky?
Came out of sky. All the flowers just
Wouldn't
came out.
that freak out people?
No, because it is Treta Yuga, and people were talking to gods directly. Yeah.
Because it's coming from God, they're not freaked out.
Yeah, they know that it is Vishnu. Now everybody in that room know that it is Vishnu and Lakshmi who got married. Vishnu and Lakshmi Devi, when they get married, and obviously gods from heaven will come and shower their blessings or shower their just show their happiness, right? And then post that they were.
Because it is Vishnu and Lakshmi.
Nice. You had something?
If people in the past they could communicate to the gods by praying and all that, how come we can?
We cannot do that because it is Kali Yugam. Kali Yugam is the worst of all the time periods. That is why people now do not have the ability to talk to gods and communicate with them.
Wait, what do you mean worst time period?
First time period is, this is the time period where there is lot of adharma and dharmam is very less. Yeah, I will talk about like 4 yugas and how each of those were, and how actually the time is divided or time is spoken about in our context, in our Indian context later. So now Rama and Sita are married. Sita Rama Kalyanam has happened. So it is for us to celebrate. Okay. Let me give you a sweet.
Oh my gosh. Are you okay?
I'm okay.
I'm hungry.
What the sweet wasn't acceptable.
You can call it prasadam or you can call it just a celebration after Sita Rama got married.
Is it banana bread?
No,